Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, welcome all of you for this continued celebration here at ISKCON Naperville. We had a wonderful time last evening. I don't know how many of you were here. It was like just wow, flowing of mercy, inundation, joy. And I was also feeling it extremely crowded. That means we need the new temple as soon as possible. So that's so amazing. Thank you so much for being here. As we all know, it's very special. Janmashtami is special, but last evening, as Grace Nitya and Pran Prabhu was saying, we wouldn't know the real importance and taking that into heart, the real meaning of Janmashtami, if it's not for Prabhupada. So it's extremely wonderful that we have Srila Prabhupada Murti in his most wonderful features and loving, glancing, and beautiful smiles here at ISKCON Naperville. So we will begin the celebration now. We just completed the Abhishekam. And now, His Grace Sachisutta Prabhu will be gifting Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja book to Srila Prabhupada. And then we will have the offerings of our GBC and our dear spiritual masters read by the devotees. We can all pray as Prabhu is offering that book, along with that offering, along with the book, for all our heartfelt offerings also to be submitted at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So now we will have the meaning of Vyasa Puja read by Her Grace Prem Kishori Mataji.
Vyasa Puja is a festival of gratitude. While the word gratitude feels insufficient when we talk about the level of indebtedness we feel towards Srila Prabhupada, it may be the best the English language has to offer. In common parlance, people say they are grateful for so many inconsequential acts of kindness. In comparison, the Srila Prabhupada has given us in unfathomable, and we strive to honor that gift with our deepest gratitude every day, but especially on the day of Vyasa Puja. In the world today, gratitude is understood to be greatly desirable mindset. The Harvard Medical School writes, gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experiences, improve their health, deal with adversity, and build strong relationships. But the Harvard Medical School misses one key point when it comes to the gratitude we feel towards Srila Prabhupada. The pain in the heart we feel, especially on Vyasa Puja day. Since we know that no amount of gratitude is adequate to reciprocate the absolute mercy he has shown us. An excerpt from a poem by Kalakanta Prabhu that appeared in the February 1996 issue of Back to Godhead magazine gives some glimpse into what Srila Prabhupada did for us. You could have stayed in Vrindavan, where chanting is most sweet, or moved to holy Navadvip in spiritual retreat. Your God brothers had temples there with room enough for you to sit and preach each Gaura Purnima to a guest or two. You could have said, it's Krishna's will. My visa was denied. I may have failed, but now I know at least that I have tried. Your patron said you died about. Your godbrother just scoffed. You could have said, who will meet the boat and guide me safely off? You could have had one look at us and said, what have I done? And caught the next boat heading home unblamed by anyone. The Westerners, who could have said, can go to hell and stay, who would have disagreed with you. We were well on your way. Instead, you laid your final years like flowers at Krishna's feet. Your guru's smile, your hidden guide, the Thakur's vision in reach. How eternally grateful we are that Srila Prabhupada tolerated such unimaginable difficulties to give us the opportunity of devotional service. Another word that is frequently used on Vyasa Puja day is indebted or indebtedness. According to the Veda base, the word indebted or indebtedness is used 157 times by Srila Prabhupada in his writings and talks. This mood of indebtedness is in our Sampradaya's DNA, and it starts with Lord Krishna himself. When I was away from Draupadi, she cried the words, "Hey Govinda, this call for me has put me in her debt, and that indebtedness is gradually increased in my heart." The Nectar of Devotion, chapter 21, Qualities of Krishna. Often the word is used to express a devotee's indebtedness to Krishna. Uddhava says to him, "O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in Srila Prabhupada's science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed to the prolonged lifetime of Brahma." Srimad Bhagavatam 11.29.6. And of course, the word is used to describe the disciples' relationship with their spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada wrote to Mantrini Devi Dasi in July of 1976, "It is not possible for the disciple to repay the debt of the spiritual master. Therefore, the disciple remains eternally indebted to the spiritual master and continually works in such a way that the spiritual master may have become pleased upon him for sincere service rendered." The offerings found in this book was an express of the various writers' attempts to express this mood of gratitude and indebtedness. Writing a Vyasa Puja offering is not easy. We are forced to slow down and focus on the essential nature of who we are in relationship with our Guru and Krishna. It is a challenge. We likely come up with some initial thoughts of what we write and then decide we are not satisfied with them. We may discard them as superficial or clinch. We challenge ourselves to meditate more deeply. Some of us reflect on what our life would have been like hard we not come in contact with Srila Prabhupada. A meditation he himself suggests in this purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 6.2.34. We should always consider what our position was before we came and what it was now. We had fallen into abominable lives, but now we have been given the opportunity to chant Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, we should always appreciate this opportunity. We are pushed towards feelings of gratitude and indebtedness. By Krishna's grace, we finally are able to express something, albeit falling short of what we wish we could more thoroughly expressed. While the offerings in this book are written months before Vyasa Puja day, we again get the opportunity to focus on our gratitude and indebtedness today, the actual day of Vyasa Puja. We may be exhausted from the Janmashtami celebrations the day before, but we push ourselves to attend and be fully present as Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja Day is a must celebration for all his followers. Naturally, we will do our best to bring out the sincerest side of ourselves this day. Since Srila Prabhupada had to teach us everything from scratch, that naturally included how to properly honor him on this day. In Japan, 1970, Srila Prabhupada arrived at noon in the temple for his Vyasa Puja celebrations, but the standard preparations had not been done. There were no flowers or offerings of prasad, and while there were several sannyasis present or junior grihasthas was offering arati, Srila Prabhupada reprimanded the devotees present and then instructed them on the proper way to observe Vyasa Puja, including offering flowers 3 times, a senior devotees offering arati, and a special feast. He allowed the devotees to rectify their mistakes by redoing Vyasa Puja the next day. On another Vyasa Puja, Srila Prabhupada noticed 3 of the senior disciples leaving the room during the offering of flowers, Pushpanjali. He was displeased and said so. In contrast, when Srila Prabhupada was done nicely, Prabhupada expressed satisfaction. I'm so glad to hear how Janmashtami and Vyasa Pujas were celebrating so successfully there in New Vrindavan. Clearly, it is important to perform Vyasa Puja ceremony properly with full attention and devotion. Finally, and most importantly, we recall the famous line in Srila Prabhupada's 1961 offering at his Guru Maharaj Vyasa Puja. A festival of flowers and fruits is not the real worship. One who serves the Guru's message really worships him. This, then, it is the ultimate meaning of Vyasa Puja. To serve Srila Prabhupada's message on Vyasa Puja Day as well as every other day of the year with sincere surrender and love. Raja Vihari Das, co-director, ISKCON Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Now we will have. Can we move it this way so the devotees can face it? Yeah, devotees can stand like this, they can see.
Wherever you want.
Here,
So they have not seen Prabhupada?
we will sit down. Now we will have the Vyasa Puja offering of our GBC, His Grace Anuttama Das Prabhu, and also on our temple behalf, Premanand Mataji will be reading the offering.
This is our GBC, His Grace Anuttama Das Prabhu's offering to Srila Prabhupada. Dear Srila Prabhupada, Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhudale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. On the back cover of our Bhagavad Gita as it is, we find these words of Mahatma Gandhi. When doubts haunt me, when disappointments stare me in the face, I see not one ray of hope on the horizon. I turn to Bhagavad Gita and find a verse to comfort me. Such is the impact of spiritual knowledge and inspiration. It can turn darkness into light and sorrow into joy. I have a similar experience, Srila Prabhupada. Whenever I read about your life, from the many biographies about you, especially Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita, you give me light and hope amidst the darkness. Although these books I learned, through these books I learned many lessons for my life. I learned to see a bit more like you see, and to connect with you more deeply as the single person who has molded my life more than any other. I learned of the challenges you faced, the heartbreaks and losses you overcame, the determination you manifested, and the humility and love that drove you forward. I also learned that as Gandhi faced disappointments, you too faced disappointments. Most trying, perhaps, was when the mission of your beloved spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, splintered. It seemed then that the greatest tool for spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement had been beaten down and lost. How painful that must have been. But that did not stop you, Srila Prabhupada. Instead, it instilled in you even more deeply the desire to write and to preach and to publish. And it instilled in you a resounding conviction of the paramount need for cooperation among the Vaishnavas, the Rupanugas, the Prabhupadanugas, and all the disciples and grand disciples of the Acharya. Studying your life further, we learn that years later, as you built your International Society for Krishna Consciousness, to continue the mission of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you carried that message of cooperation forward, and you implanted it throughout your society. As stated within your 7 purposes of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, your society would propagate the values that would achieve real unity and peace in the world. Twice therein you stated that your society would bring the members together. That is, bring the members together. Yours would be a society to teach and encourage the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy name of the God, that is, by definition, cooperative chanting. Even your leadership model was based on cooperation. Refraining from empowering one man or acharya to lead your burgeoning institution, you created the governing body commission and carefully crafted this structure of collective leadership to be the ultimate managing authority of ISKCON in perpetuity. And you instructed the GBC and other leaders of your society to come together every year in Mayapur to discuss unity in diversity. Those who pray to make whatever is dear to you most dear to them are always remembered of your prediction that your love for me will be shown by how much you cooperate together after I am gone. That cooperation is being sorely tested today, Srila Prabhupada. Driven by the different ethnic, cultural, and social conceptions we bring with us into Krishna consciousness, impacted by whatever bizarre astrological or karmic influences are driving the entire globe into warring camps and oppositional social identities, and perhaps suffering from a collective loss of memory of your urging us to set aside sectarian differences. We struggle to stay together. unified under your leadership and the banner of Sri Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Some in ISKCON today rail against the idea of global guidance, standards, and principles. Some promote their alliance to individual Diksha Gurus as foremost. Some even speak of creating 2 GBCs, one East and one West. But if we read of the pain you felt upon splintering the Gaudiya mud, if we humble ourselves at your lotus feet and ask what service we can render you, if we bring your desire into our hearts to replace the urge for power and prestige that may rot there today, we cannot help but see that fulfilling your desire for a cooperative global society to spread Krishna consciousness must be our primary goal and most pressing mission. Please bless us to study, remember, and drink more deeply of your example, Srila Prabhupada. Bless us to see how you struggled for decades to bring the full opportunity of Krishna consciousness to the Africans, Europeans, Indians, and others across the world. Bless us to see how and why you struggled to bring the full opportunity of Krishna consciousness to the rich and famous, the poor and the destitute, the black and white and brown, and the women as well as men, regardless of race, religion, gender, or nation. If we keep your life's practical example in our hearts, Srila Prabhupada, we will find that the love for one and all that you felt can be awakened in our hearts too. Guide us to serve humbly as instruments of your vision and your demand for a cooperative global society of servants. Let us be bound together by a desire to serve one another and the world and Lord Krishna. Let us do so in remembrance of your example, your sacrifices, your deep desire to please your Guru Maharaj by building an international society pledged to cooperation and unity in diversity. Your servant, Anuttama Das. I would like to add something on behalf of ISKCON Naperville also. Let me offer my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Budale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Idi Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. I'm standing here today in front of you with all humility in my heart, deep love and deepest gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. If it was not for Srila Prabhupada, none of us will be sitting here. If it is not for your mercy, we wouldn't have a temple to worship Sri Radha Madhava and Sri Radha Syamasundar. And because of your unlimited mercy, we not only have our deities, you personally manifested yourself in our temple in your most enchantingly beautiful form. His Grace Lochan Das Prabhu, who made your murtis years ago, very specially made your exact replica, your image, and spoke also during the installation of this ceremony here, that Srila Prabhupada is personally present here in his murti. He's witnessing everything that we do. And Srila Prabhupada, we heard from many sources that how much of a struggle you had to go through to build this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, learning from the experiences that Gaudiya Mud had gone through, and wanting to build a society to serve the whole world in cooperation. You taught us everything from beginning to end. Every simple detail, every single detail of whether it is deity worship or whether it is scriptural study, whether it is the teachings of our acharyas, you name it, everything that we need to progress in our spiritual life, Srila Prabhupada, you gave us, and you wanted us to be representing you and welcoming each and every devotee who is stepping into this temple as your representative. We are very, very immature, and this is a very young community here. We don't have any senior devotees living here. And we are, but at the same time, we know you wanted your centers to be centers of excellence. And that was something my Guru Maharaj taught me from the very beginning, that we are not here to build just a huge temple. We are here to give quality service, a quality experience of Krishna consciousness to this community members, and to serve you in the spirit in which you wanted us to serve their lordships and your divine grace. And even though the devotees in this community are very young and very new, I feel it in my heart that they are very sincere in their approach to their services. They are learning. We make many mistakes, unbelievable number of mistakes, but you are so forgiving. And that is something I just wanted to very specially speak today, because by your mercy, Shri Radha Madhava and Radha Syamasundar has been unlimitedly merciful to this community. And I'm sure all of you assembled here would agree with me, and particularly anyone who has been engaged in the deity service in this temple will vouch for me when I say that with our limited experience, when we are serving their lordships, they are so kind, unbelievably kind, that even a person who has no talent, no ability to serve, they are able to do so. And we will never be able to do that without the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So we are at a critical junction, Srila Prabhupada, where we are moving, by your mercy and by the mercy of their lordships, we will be moving from this small beginning to a bigger building in the back over there. And building is not going to do anything. It is the people who serve. That is what determines the quality of service. And as I read just now, we have laid a very a collective leadership, just like what Anuttama Prabhu had written here. We are trying to set up an organizational structure. We have already laid the foundation for that, Srila Prabhupada. It is not a hierarchical structure. Temple president and temple sweeper are on the same platform. Each and every one of you who are present here, who are not present here, who are part of this community, you will all stand together, hand in hand, offering your services to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, and their lordships. This year, Janmashtami, you saw there were thousands of people who came here on a Friday. Thousands more are expected during this weekend. This is a growing community. And so you can understand the need for serving this entire community as Srila Prabhupada desired us to serve them. So on this very, very auspicious occasion of Srila Prabhupada's appearance day, I'm praying to Srila Prabhupada and to their lordships, Shri Radha Madhava and Shri Radha Syamasundar, to continue to be extremely merciful to us. We have our effort on the one side, but without their mercy, we cannot lift even a little finger. I request all the devotees who are assembled here to keep that in mind and offer your prayers along with me to Srila Prabhupada. Your commitment to serve in a cooperative way, your commitment to serve shoulder to shoulder. This is a flat organizational structure that we are building, choosing to build for ISKCON Naperville. And so, Srila Prabhupada, that's what we want to present to you today. And this is with the help of every single devotee who is assembled here and not assembled here. This is our offering to Srila Prabhupada so that we will have a jewel-like temple in North America, which will shine like anything, which will be the example that Srila Prabhupada wanted us to be. So please offer your prayers along with me to Srila Prabhupada to grant us this wish today so that we progress in the construction of our temple without any obstruction, extraordinary mercy by which we are empowered to do so, and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and their lordships so that we are able to install our most dear deities in the new temple and serve their lordship, Srila Prabhupada, and the entire community together. Nobody here is a boss over anyone. As I mentioned again, temple president and temple sweeper are one and the same. Our structure also reflects that same thing. And let us all work together cooperatively, even if there are any differences. Saying this in front of Srila Prabhupada today, put aside your differences. There is no differences that cannot be resolved. As long as there are two human beings coming together to do any service, anywhere, when there are two hands, it makes noise. But we don't need to continue to make noise. We continue to serve in the spirit that Srila Prabhupada wanted us, love and cooperation. Even a small ant can do that. And nobody needs to feel that I am so more important than somebody else. And all with feelings of deep humility, gratitude, and love, you please offer all your prayers and respect to Srila Prabhupada. Everything will manifest here in Naperville. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Mataji. That's very moving to the heart. I know it's such a heartfelt offering. And thank you for being here and imbibing that mood of Srila Prabhupada as you're sharing and giving us that inspiration for us to continue. Thank you. We will now have His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj's offering. We have Her Grace Devi Murti Mataji reading the offering.
My dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most fallen obeisances unto your divine lotus feet. Every year, when I try to recount your transcendental glories for the Vyasa Puja book, I realize how unqualified I am to do so. On a few occasions, you stated that your spiritual master was a Vaikuntha man. On a few occasions, You stated that your spiritual master was a Vaikuntha man. And so it was not easy to glorify him. I feel same about you. You are definitely a Vaikuntha man who appeared on this planet to save humanity. In your first meeting with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, he recognized that you were that transcendental personality who could take Lord Chaitanya's message to the Western world. You were determined to execute your spiritual master's order. After struggling for nearly 40 years, you finally reached New York City in 1965. Last year, several preaching programs were organized to celebrate the 125th anniversary of your birth. On that auspicious occasion, the Prime Minister of India released a silver commemorative coin. This was acclaimed to be very prestigious, and the event was covered by the international media. He praised ISKCON for presenting the true Vedic philosophy, and he praised you for being a true ambassador of Vedic culture. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we could not celebrate your 125th birth anniversary as elaborately as we wanted. Our temples were closed for nearly 2 years. Necessity is the mother of invention, and devotees worldwide have started using online platforms for preaching. In a brief span of 12 years, you wrote over 80 transcendental books, which have been translated into most of the major languages of the world. You often stated that ISKCON is your body and the Bhaktivedanta book trust is your heart. You wanted your temples to be well managed and book distribution to be expanded. Everything we need to know is available in your books. Your Bhaktisiddhanta purports were personally inspired by the Supreme Lord. You will be pleased to know that we have a nice team for translating and publishing your books in Urdu, the language spoken in Pakistan. Presently, the Urdu team has published up to the 4th canto, and their goal is to complete the entire Srimad Bhagavatam in the next 2 to 3 years. In your letter dated 24th January 1977, you stated that every respectable person should have full sets of Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita in his home. ISKCON leaders in India have taken this instruction of yours as a goal. Due to the power of your books, people all over the world are taking to Krishna consciousness. As your devotees, we regard studying and distributing your books as our most important services. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Thakur stated that tasks that are very difficult to do become very easy by remembering Lord Chaitanya, but that if we forget him, then easy things become very difficult. Lord Chaitanya instructed Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis to go to Vrindavan and establish temples and write books. Following in their footsteps, you wrote many books and built so many beautiful temples. Your disciples have taken this mission to this heart, and several temples have been built and are being built for your pleasure. You had a strong desire that a beautiful Krishna Arjun temple be built at Jyotisar, Kurukshetra, the place where the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. We sincerely hope to complete this project in 12 to 18 months. Important dignitaries are expected to attend the inauguration. On this auspicious day, I beg you for spiritual strength so that I can go on serving enthusiastically in your great moment. Your fallen servant, Gopala Krishna Goswami.
Now we will have His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj offering, read by His Grace Pandurang Gopal Prabhu.
One humble request, just give the stage to the people because people will walk in, walk out, and we don't want to disturb the activity.
Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Vithra Srimati Radha. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my sincere obeisances. I pray to forever offer my body, mind, and soul in your service. As I reflect upon my life over the past 51 years since I first met you, my heart fills with gratitude and joy. Through both the pleasant and stormy times, your teachings and examples have remained a constant shelter. Bitter conflicts, heartbreaking disappointments, and ideological disputes are everywhere in this world. Dreadful diseases, mental anguish, and natural disasters are filling people's lives with uncertainty. The influence of Kali Yuga seems to leave no stone unturned, even within the society of devotees. In this turbulent sea of material perplexities, your words and examples gives us shelter and provide a perfect compass to lead us always towards Krishna, the absolute truth and the goal of life. As the years pass, the limitations of old age and the nearness of death are right before our eyes. The increasing occurrence of our most beloved Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis disappearing from this physical world are now inseparable from the experience of living. Yet, you have given us the gift of Krishna consciousness, wherein we can know that Krishna, ever loving hand, is reaching out to us in all situations. We need only to recognize His mercy and surrender to receiving it. As we grow on the path of bhakti, we are gaining deeper realizations of the glorious place that you are taking us. You have entrusted to us the eternal message that the happiness of hearing and chanting Krishna names and glories while engaging in devotional service with sincere devotee is the highest reality. The rules and regulations that are mercifully gave are to protect us from the implications and distractions that draw our minds away from the joy of devotional service. You have given us a day-to-day way of living wherein our immortal souls may pass through this mortal world on a journey to Krishna's pure loving service. I am forever grateful. This year, 2022, we celebrated the 100th anniversary of a historic movement that would forever change the world. In 1922, in Kolkata, you first met His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada at his residence on a rooftop at the first Gaudiya Matha on Ultadanga Junction Road. 1 century ago, at this meeting, you were given the instruction to take the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to the whole world in the English language. You accepted this order as your life and soul. Years later, while residing in Vrindavana in a small rented room, you prepared for your mission by beginning your English translations and purports to the Srimad Bhagavatam. This was a humble beginning for your legacy of circulating the most Vedic literatures in history. Here in Vrindavana, you daily prayed at the Samadhi of Srila Rupa Goswami for his blessings to fulfill the impossible order that you have been given. The miracle of your dedication, sacrifice, and compassion has fulfilled a prophecy that has been cultivated through the ages by the greatest of Vaishnava Acharyas. You have fulfilled a dream cherished by all of the Acharya of our parampara. This year, for your pleasure, Srila Prabhupada, this original temple at Ultadanga in Kolkata, where you first met with your Guru Maharaja, and received his order has been procured and renovated. It was inaugurated on the Vyasa Puja day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura by the devotees of ISKCON Kolkata. The building has been restored as far as possible to its original design, materials, and atmosphere. We are hoping that it will be an intimate place of pilgrimage for all your followers to come and meditate upon your divine grace. It is our hope that this sacred place may also help unite the greater Vaishnava community. Srila Prabhupada, in the past year, ISKCON Kolkata has inaugurated a memorial and pilgrimage site at the exact place you took birth in 1986 under the historic jackfruit tree. We will be striving in the days to come to develop this memorial in a way that devotees and sincere people of all backgrounds throughout the world will come to celebrate your glorious appearance and your pastimes of pure devotion and compassion. In this way, Kolkata will truly become a gateway to Mayapur and to the temple of the Vedic planetarium according to your desire. I pray for the sincerity and wholeheartedly beg for your mercy and to assist you in your glorious service to the parampara of Srila Guru and Sri Gauranga, your servant Guru Maharaj Radha Swami Maharaj.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Now we will have His Holiness Rompa Swami Maharaj offering, read by Her Grace Shri Radhika Mataji.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। मुकुं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। My dear and most respected spiritual master and eternal Father, please accept my most humble and respectful obeisances in the dust of your most merciful lotus feet. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Even more than being recognized by Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj as a gifted writer as early as 1935 for your Vyasa Puja homage to him, which was presented both in poetic form as well as an essay. Your greatest satisfaction was knowing that you had pleased him very much by offering service to him through your God-given gift for writing. Whatever he writes, publish it, was the instruction Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati gave to the editor of The Harmonist. Absolute ascendant thou hast proved, impersonal calamity thou hast removed. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta took your words in this stanza as an indication of how well you knew his mind and mission. It captured the essence of your spiritual master's preaching against the Mayavadis. The essay was likewise deeply profound. Your mature life was replete with such loving expressions of service to His Divine Grace's mission in all respects. When you left household life for Vanaprastha in 1954 at the age of 58, you endured much hardship and anonymity. Little has been recorded about those testing years. After wandering here and there for 2 years, striving to assist your Guru Maharaj, you took up residence for 6 years, 1956 through 1962, at the family-owned Vamsi Gopalji temple near Keshi Ghat. Your room was tiny and barren. Hardly could one even imagine that a world acharya would evolve from such humble beginnings. a testimony of your unbridled determination against all odds, manifested in an unexpected manner. By your following up on a notice of an event to be held in Japan in May of 1961, an invitation was extended to you from Japan to personally attend the conference called Congress for Cultivation of Human Spirit. Although your sights had been set by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta upon addressing the English-speaking part of the world, without any assets or assistance, you set about the project of writing Light of the Bhagavata, based on chapter 20 of the Bhagavatam's 10th canto, to address this assembly. You prepared a 20,000-word manuscript for the occasion, and with an explicit request of the conference organizer to produce one oriental painting to accompany each section of the book. As it turned out, the book was finally published a full 20 years later, since in 1961 you had no funds, even for the airfare to Tokyo. Srila Prabhupada, the language in this manuscript is so powerful, brilliant, perfectly suited for the audience, and embodying the same core messages you shared with the world audience over the next 2 decades. Your fidelity to the strong points repeatedly found in the writings of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta is so apparent, even at this early stage. One outstanding example I particularly noted was this, quote, "Human beings have 2 kinds of temperament. Some are introspective and the others are extravagant," end quote. And, quote, "Nature divides human activities into 2 different spheres, one external and the other introspective. As long as a man is dominated by the modes of ignorance and passion, he is active externally in desire and lust," end quote. "The wise are those who look inwardly and can guide the misguided." You repeatedly appeal to the reader to become inwardly directed instead of extravagant and externally oriented. This language is precisely the same as the primary emphasis and objective of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami's Sri Manashiksha, which he naturally extends to its ultimate limit, inward cultivation of attachment to the type of Krishna prema found in Vraja. You beseech your audience to turn away from the contaminating influences acting upon covered souls, and instead to embrace purity as found in great souls such as the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. In this early literature, at least directionally, you clearly advocate and endorse inward cultivation, eloquently found in seed-like form within chapter 20 of the 10th canto. As introduced in this concise, eloquent book, Light of the Bhagavata, gradually you expanded this aspiration further by personally giving Vrindavan to us as a real home, along with the lives and writings of the 6 Goswamis as the gateway to enter the holy Dham. By your grace, my internal life of devotion to Vrindavan Dham has been immensely nourished this past year by immersion in the glorious details of the lives and writings of our beloved Goswamis of Vrindavan. For those of us not yet qualified to live in Vrindavan full-time, you, following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami, taught us to cherish Vrindavan as our real home and to covet one day becoming qualified to make the eternal Vrindavan our eternal home. Finally, I want to report to you the current progress of the court case filed in 2004 by the plaintiff GBC to regain full control of the same ISKCON Inc. corporation that you personally established in July 1966. After more than 18 years of legal battling, a full trial on the merits is looming. I earnestly appeal to you for your full blessings for a favorable decision from the court. With your mercy, together with intelligent guidance by our attorneys and sincere prayers of the Vaishnavas, success will naturally follow. I am most grateful and indebted to you for all that you have abundantly given to me personally and to all others who are willing to receive true abundance from you. I pray for your empowerment so that I may unceasingly receive these gifts, as well as assist you in this very mission of giving the same to others. Kindly accept me despite my error-filled attempts to assist and serve you favorably. Pleasing you is my life and soul, the real meaning and value of my life. I'm at your feet, begging for your continued mercy. Please keep me forever and ever engaged in your service, your humble servant, Romapada Swami.
Thank you so much, Mataji. If you can all kindly move towards the front side, I'll do it. Little bit back and towards that side of the room, so we can leave little gap here, and in the front we'll be bringing the offerings. Now, we couldn't find the offerings of His Holiness Jaipatak Swami Maharaj and His Holiness Radha Govinda Swami Maharaj. Couldn't make it to the book, but their life itself is an offering. So we pray and we follow their examples. Now His Grace Vamshidhari Prabhu will read the offering from the BBT, Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, North America.
Hare Krishna.
We are good. Thank you so much.
Om Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. So BBT is like a Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. We have BBT from North America, Europe, and so on. So it is from North America, this offering. And this is written by Sura Prabhu. It is a poem, basically. Sura Prabhu was serving BBT for a long time, and he just left the world last December after all his services to Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. So this is an offering to Prabhupada. He left before he left this world. 6 months after his departure from this model plane of existence, we are still sorely missing the association of our dear God brother, fellow BBT Sevaka and friend Suradas. So to keep his memory alive, we have decided to resurrect one of his inimitable poems that was previously offered on behalf of North America BBT. It's a poem. Life is short, we make it very hard. It is simple for the pure in heart. There's a purpose, a reason that we are here, more than just playing a part. The mission at hand has been spoken, that every woman and man in all lands gets a book. The mission of man has been woven in every village and town all around the world. There's a conquest of spiritual, cultural concern, a renaissance of humankind. East and West in chanting on your books, the world will not change in time. The mission at hand has been spoken, that every woman and man in all lands gets a book. The mission of man has been woven in every village and town all around the world. I can't serve my senses anymore. It is only chewing the chewed. My life is meant for more than this, fulfilling the mission of Krishna and you. The mission at hand has been spoken, that every woman and man in all lands gets a book. The mission of man has been woven in every village and town all around the world. There is a place beyond this mundane world, free from all lust, anger, and greed. One engaged in your mission, life and soul, will reach that place with certain guarantee. So the mission at hand has been spoken, that every woman and man in all lands gets a book. The mission of man has been woven in every village and town all around the world. Your servants at Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, Los Angeles, California. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, now we will bring the offering.
So I was asked if I can share something regarding the book distribution in North America, in Naperville. We started this book distribution service in 2013 with Stoka Krishna Prabhuji getting some books from Chicago Temple, which was worth around $300. And we started our distribution first time at Lemon Temple, in Hindu temple nearby. And after that, the book distribution went leaps and bounds. It got doubled. $300 became $1,000, and $1,000 became $5,000. After $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, actually it came to $45,000 business. And so $45,000 business was not easy to keep up. It's like it's the cost price, not including the shipment and so on. So then temple construction was very active. So we stepped down a little bit for 2 years or something like that. And meanwhile, the reading programs have picked up. So the story, how it started was for one of the Bhadra Purnima, which is coming in September 10, next month. There was a reading challenge to finish all the translations of Bhagavatam in a month. As a community, we did it. It was a nice experience. The whole Bhagavatam, 18 books, translations, as a community sharing each chapter, something like that, we finished it. So when I mentioned this to Rompal Maharaj, that everyone is so happy, we finished the whole Bhagavatam translations. Actually, it was informal talk when we were driving. We were going to a devotee's home, and I was just about to park. And I said this one, he said, how about purports? How do we get the devotees to read purports? It's not an easy thing. But I think with his mercy and Srila Prabhupada's blessing, it started, reading the purports also has started. And it was like 2-3 years now. It's a rapid reading here in Naperville. Devotees read like half an hour every day. And most of the groups, they were in 3rd canto, 4th canto at this point, with purports and everything. So all goes to Srila Prabhupada's mercy. But I also want to express, after interacting with the book distribution service and reading, reading a lot of his books, his personality is really clear. When we read, we can see him in person more and more. So seeing him in person means we will not feel any unsteadiness in the bhakti. Like, we all want to chant steadily, or we all want to, offer services steadily and so on. It is association, especially we have noticed this in COVID time. In the beginning days of the COVID, there was a lot of stress, there was a lot of uncertainty, there was a lot of even depression, we can say. But those half an hours we were reading as together, we are all leaving with the best experience, so that we were able to move on to the rest of the days and so on. So thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for showering a lot of mercy, especially on Naperville community. On the behalf of the community, I'm offering my gratitude. And please bless us to keep you forefront, keeping your purports in our forefront. And as our dear Temple President, Her Grace Premananda Mataji said, please enable us to offer a quality offering for your pleasure and for their Lordship's pleasure, and let the happiness spread beyond this Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for all your services and inspiring us, the book distribution service. Now we will have Her Grace Arudha Mataji's offering.
नमाओ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. Dear Srila Prabhupada, when touring the museum at the Samadhi in Vrindavan recently, in my recent visit to India, I perceived your selfless dedication to carrying out the orders of your spiritual master. The dioramas displayed your one-pointed determination and enthusiasm in reaching into the hearts of the fallen conditioned souls to give them Krishna Prema. This is your life and soul. I saw you descending from the Jaladuta in New York with fierce determination. Prabhupada, when you boarded the cargo ship known as Jaladuta and sailed from Calcutta to New York, you crossed many bodies of water. So he started from the mouth of the Ganges, and then he went into the Bay of Bengal, and then into the Indian Ocean. It was a long, long journey. And although you wrote initially that your cabin was quite comfortable, very quickly you started to experience seasickness early in the morning. In Columbus, Sri Lanka, the captain took Prabhupada to see the city. And that was the time when he was able to step on land, and it really helped him. And then in Cochin, you got your own books, your shipment of your own books, and it happened to be Janmashtami Day, and that's when he spoke about Janmashtami to the crew in the Jaladuta. Soon after they started sailing again, the weather had turned stormy, and the ship's ride became rough. Rain, seasickness, dizziness, headache, no appetite, vomiting. These were more than symptoms of seasickness. You had severe pains in your chest, and in 2 days, you appeared to have suffered 2 heart attacks. What would we have done had you not made that journey, Srila Prabhupada? What would we have been out here, our fate? Never mind our own little struggles and our own little difficulties we sometimes face. Where would we had you not crossed the ocean? How can we express the depth of gratitude that the living entities of this earth planet owe to you for walking up the sacred gangplank one day in Calcutta? After 2 heart attacks, you had a dream that Lord Krishna was rowing a boat. He told you that you should not fear and should come along. You said that after you felt assured of Lord Krishna's protection. The violent attacks did not reoccur. And finally, you landed in September of 1965. Since then, Srila Prabhupada, you have not only infiltrated American society, but also the whole world in such a quiet, inconspicuous way. You were already at such an advanced age. What kind of person are you, Srila Prabhupada, to have done that for us? What kind of person would give up his homeland at the age of 70 and with no money, no motivation other than compassion make such a difficult journey? You conquered the world yourself, established the Lord on the throne, and took care of all the affairs as his loyal servant. You wore the robes of a sannyasi, shaved your head, and ate only Krishna Prasad. You're the perfect example of renunciation. You taught the world that everything belongs to Krishna and everyone is being maintained by him, and that therefore Krishna must be accepted as the Supreme Lord of the universe. Whoever does that becomes happy. Those who do not will suffer endlessly. Your servants have sacrificed their personal happiness for your pleasure. I bow millions of times to the feet of those servants of yours, the wonderful book distributors, those who donated money, those who gave their intelligence, and those who worked in different capacities to please you by honoring you. You have built a house in which the whole world can live, and in fact, the whole world will be worshiping you in the future. The big temple in Mayapur that Lord Nityananda and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had predicted is being constructed by your followers. People will go there from all over the world to see you, to see it and to glorify you. Your purpose in coming to this earthly planet was not simply to convince a few people, nor maintain a few temples. Your purpose was to fill the whole universe in the ocean of pure devotional service. As we are being offered the mercy of assisting your disciples in doing this, we only have to give up our selfishness, our desire to enjoy. I pray to you, Srila Prabhupada, to be able to constantly remember this purpose, to constantly act in consonance with this purpose, and to assist those who have dedicated their lives to your mission. Your humble servant, Aruda Devi Dasi.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Now we'll have His Grace Nityan Pran Prabhu reading his offering. We'll try to make it short. I know these are very sweet and heartfelt offerings, but as we have other things lined up, we will have shorter time for the individual offerings.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. My dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances at your most merciful lotus feet that can provide shelter to anyone in the human spectrum. All glories to your divine grace. It is a self-evident fact that what you have achieved in a mere span of 11 years between the ages of 70 and 81 is otherworldly. The list of your achievements is staggering. 108 temples across the globe, farm communities, restaurants, thousands of committed devotees who shed their materialistic possessions and or ideologies to serve Radha, Krishna exclusively. It is a wonder to some people that many devotees never even met you for this transformation to happen in their lives. They came across your devotees or books. That's it. When this unprecedented success is attributed to you, you immediately would say it was all possible by your Guru Maharaja's grace. You are an epitome of Guru Nishtha. In your purport to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 41, you write your realizations as, quote, as such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna. And one should accept the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life, end quote. Sri Lakshmana treated Sri Ramachandra as his guru more than as his brother. When directed by Sri Ramachandra to remind Sugriva of his lapse in fulfilling his promise to help find Sita Devi, Sri Lakshmana arrives in Kishkindha full of anger, disgust perhaps, at the frailty in Sugriva's commitment. Angada trepidly announces to Sugriva Sri Lakshmana's arrival in the following words. Sa esha raghava brata Lakshmano vakyasaratihi Vyavasaya ratha prapta asya ramasya shashanat. Translation. By the command of Sri Rama, his brother has come to you. Rama's words as charioteer and his work as the chariot. This is from Valmiki Ramayana, Kishkindha Kanda, chapter 31, verse 47. The words or phrases in this verse match very closely to those in Bhagavad Gita 2:41. Sri Lakshmana's chariot is his resolve, Vyavasaya, to fulfill Sri Rama's command. The charioteer is Sri Rama's instruction. In the spirit of Sri Lakshmana, you too embody this quality in your character. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's instruction catapulted you to come to the USA. You did not allow your determination to wane even a bit, albeit 40 plus years passed between when you received the instruction and when it bore fruit. This is your shining example of Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Ekaha, single-pointed resolve to carry out Sri Guru's instruction. It is my earnest call to your benevolent self to kindly bestow upon me even a tiny fraction of such nishtha for Sri Guru's seva. I will find my life abundantly enriched by such mercy. With much gratitude and hope, your servant, Nityananda Prandas.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Now we'll have His Grace Monlila Prabhu. We will have now really short offerings. We can have these days and days
Hare
together.
Krishna. I was told to keep under 2 minutes, and if I kept under a minute, I'll get some special Mahaprasad. So, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Kam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvisheshu Nivadi Pasyarthi Sarani. So while we were driving today here from home to the temple, we came in Amritakali Mataji's car, and there were several kids there. And then Mataji asked all the kids to share, what do you like about Srila Prabhupada? And our little Jiva told a very nice story that I never heard, which I'll narrate to you, right? I'll try to do it dramatically, right? Srila Prabhupada was in an interview with a newspaper reporter the newspaper reporter was sitting there, and he was sitting here, and then the newspaper looked at Prabhupada for a moment, and then she said, "Why do you shave your head?" Srila Prabhupada looked at the newspaper reporter for a moment, and he told her, "Why do you shave your legs?" And then Srila Prabhupada said a statement, "You like your legs to be cool and your head to be hot, but I like my head to be cool and my legs to be warm." So that's a funny statement. See how Srila Prabhupada's interactions stick with everybody. How those interactions stick with them. Like even a small child can correlate to many things like this, right? So in my little service as a Sunday school teacher, I can see that how Srila Prabhupada, earlier Mataji said, Srila Prabhupada built a home where the whole world can live. I always seen it like, Westerners can live, Easterners can live, different people from Africa or Europe can live. But when I see through the Sunday school lens, it's amazing how different ages can live within the same house that Srila Prabhupada built. Right? A lot of times we see adults running around doing big things, right? But the little children also, they correlate to Srila Prabhupada in many ways. As a small child, they enjoy the stories that Srila Prabhupada gave, the stories of Prahlad Maharaj and whatnot. When they move to the next class, they enjoy the discussions in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then as they go to like middle school, they really enjoy the discussions and challenging other kids. When they go to high school, they really enjoy challenging Krishna consciousness. And then recently I heard, a person who grew in Krishna consciousness to middle school, through high school, I see him evolve. He went to college recently, and he's now in second year of college. And then he came back and said, "I really, really feel the shelter of Krishna, and I see how dangerous the outside world association is." So sometimes, when the children go through high school, they have their own challenges. But the moment they go to college and especially secondary and third year of college, they see the shelter. They see how Maya is so strong outside and the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada has given shelter at every age level. And you can correlate to your life, as you're growing older or younger or whatever, you can find shelter of Srila Prabhupada in every step in your life. This is what I would like to say. Srila Prabhupada ki!
Thank you so much, Prabhu. You will still have your Mahaprasad. Now we will have His Grace Gopal Hari Prabhu. And then Shyam Prabhu, if you can come forward.
Mine might be 2.5 minutes. Dear Srila Prabhupada, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane. Please accept my most humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to you on this most wonderful and auspicious occasion of your Vyasa Puja. In your purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.15, you have said, "To take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord means to take shelter of the pure devotees." The pure devotees, whose only business is to serve, are honored by the names Prabhupada and Vishnupad, which indicate such devotees to be representatives of the lotus feet of the Lord. Anyone, therefore, who takes shelter of the lotus feet of a pure devotee, by accepting the pure devotee as a spiritual master, can be at once purified. Srila Prabhupada, you have shown mercy to fallen souls, but yet we are so stubborn that we have not accepted that mercy. So please kindly push us into the ocean of mercy, so we may get a taste of bhakti. Your divine grace represents Lord Nityananda as deliverer of most fallen. With the mood of Lord Nityananda, your divine grace traveled all over the world without caring for your health to spread the message of Lord Chaitanya. Through your example, you show us how to taste and spread Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Your spirit of renunciation and attachment for the holy name are unparalleled. You chanted the holy name continuously, gave thousands of lectures, and traveled the world just for this purpose. Due to your preaching, hundreds and thousands of people have come to know who is Lord Chaitanya and who is Krishna. Furthermore, innumerable souls have progressed to higher levels of devotional service and spiritual understanding through your deep realizations, attachment to the holy name, and guidance. Srila Prabhupada, we feel so blessed to be part of your ISKCON Naperville community. every devotee here has been so kind to us, and they are your surrendered servants. Undoubtedly, this is one of your best projects in the whole world, and everyone in ISKCON is talking about it. I actually had this experience just recently. I was traveling to quite a few temples in the US with my Guru Maharaj, and everyone knew about Naperville. And someone would say, they would all say, oh, you have a really nice temple coming up there. We heard about it. How are you doing it? And it's like, I don't know how they're doing it. Ask them. And then in another place, someone said, you know, I went there and I had the softest rasgullas. Your temple makes the softest rasgullas. How do you do that? And a third person went there and said, you know, the pujaris are just so welcoming, and they took such nice care of me. Another person came and said that how they were also following the same model that Naperville was to fundraise for their temple. So, so it's a great honor to be part of Prabhupada's mission here. Your team of devotees here continues to engage us and warmly accept us. Particularly, I would like to thank your leadership team here. In your movement, leadership is a matter of great sacrifice. We pray that we can develop the service attitude that they have and offer our services to your mission here. In the Nectar Devotion, you write, quote, one should therefore be encouraged to develop his service attitude toward the Lord, because this will help him to chant without any offense. And so, under the guidance of a spiritual master, the disciple is trained to render service and at the same time chant the Hare Krishna mantra. As soon as one develops his spontaneous service attitude, he can immediately understand the transcendental nature of the holy names of the Maha Mantra. A similar statement is in the 3rd canto, 7th chapter, verse 19 of Srimad Bhagavatam, quote, let me become a sincere servant of the devotees, because by serving them one can achieve unalloyed devotional service unto the lotus feet of the Lord. The service of devotees diminishes all miserable material conditions and develops within one a deep devotional love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's no doubt about one's becoming freed from all reactions to sinful activities after visiting a devotee or touching his lotus feet or giving him a sitting place. Even by remembering the activities of such a Vaishnava, one becomes purified, along with one's whole family. And what then can be said of rendering direct service to him? Unquote. Srila Prabhupada, we pray on this day, please be merciful upon us, so that we may gradually be forgiven of our offenses to you and your dear devotees. Please bless me so that we can chant sincerely and attentively and can develop a taste for the holy name. Please bless us that we can develop some of the spirit of detachment that is exemplified by you and develop attachment for devotees and the holy name and dham. Please be kind upon this fallen soul and keep us under the shade of your lotus feet. Your unworthy servants, Gopal Haridas and Devi Murti Devidas.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Even though you crossed 2 minutes, you're excused because you are sharing our Naperville glories. Thank you. Now we'll hear from Shyam Prabhu, and then we'll have Ravi, and then Anirudh and Arjun. I'm sorry, Aditya and Arjun. Sorry.
Hare Krishna, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namime. Today, this day, since my journey from Boise, Idaho, this is the day where I feel so weak, numb, unqualified to stand and speak any words. And it reflects all the services the Prabhupada and Prabhupada disciples has done, and how less, how low we are not to take, if you listen to all the Guru Maharaj, and then we feel like how unqualified we are. So, and to me, personally, I feel that how much, poor I am in my executing my service. So please forgive me in this process. If I offend you, I make mistakes. And today is my day of realization. So, Srila Prabhupada, even though I was not at all qualified for what I am doing, but with your mercy, I think everything is possible. I still remember the days this service Premna Mataji gave me. I don't know why she gave me, but she, Syam, can you do it? And since then, this service is going on. Srila Prabhupada, with your mercy, you build hundreds of temples, but today, hundreds of temples are under construction as I speak. In fact, just in America, there are 10 million plus temples, $10 million temples are being built, Prabhupada, as we speak. Prabhupada, in the world, everywhere your temple are being built. And this is not possible without your special mercy that you give. Coming back to Naperville, Prabhupada, when we started this project, we really didn't have any qualification, any ideas. But our source, the Premananda Mataji, we knew her sincere desire to serve her guru. And the gurus to you. Seeing the Romapada Swami Maharaj, every time he comes to this place, the smile that I see and the random calls I get it from there, I get surprised. How much of a fundraise? I said, Romapada Swami Maharaj, worry about Naperville temple. So this all sincerity, Prabhupada, that's coming because of you to us, and we are trying to make this effort. Prabhupada, I remember the first fundraising dinner we were doing, we absolutely have no idea who will come, if anybody will come. With all the anxiety, you came in my thoughts and dream, you said, you will be on each table to ensure that the fundraising will happen, and it happened. Prabhupada, I still remember Sangeeta Mataji once she called and said, Syam Prabhu, so Hema Malini is willing to come. I said, are you gone crazy? Hema Malini will come for us. And such a sincerity she works. And in fact, we had one of the best devotees that you cultivated through your source. Hema Malini ji was here. And she transformed the entire Chicagoland to think about ISKCON Naperville. And this glory is going on, Prabhupada. We are very close to get this temple constructed. But Prabhupada, I have a special request for you today. Our temple president, Premananda Mataji, she puts a lot of hard work, effort, life, and that everybody don't realize. Please give her enough strength so that she can continue to do rest of the work, because without her, it is not possible. It is a big project. It is a very, very big project for a community like us. So her sincerity, dedication, and with that, the team she has built, it is very, very important that we stay together and get this project done. So Prabhupada, with you today, I request you once again to give us all the strength, give this community all the strength. We become a role model for the temple, for the generations to come. With that, thank you so much, Sir Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. That's such a heartfelt, and we can really feel how much you're feeling for that. Thank you for, no words are enough for what you're doing, being there and representing Mataji and doing this. Ravi, we can, and then if we can have Aditya and Arjuna also, please come forward.
So I'll try to keep this under 2 minutes. So this is a special day for the youth especially. Prabhupada's appearance day is really relevant to the youth, and I'll kind of share the very limited realizations that I have, but hopefully it's meaningful. So for many of us as youth, the life of Srila Prabhupada is inspiring in many ways. I think as youth, a lot of us question, this process, whether, it works, whether Krishna is real, whether, there is ultimately a purpose to all of this. And I think one of the answers, one of the ways that a lot of us can get inspired and derive some faith is from the life of Srila Prabhupada himself. And I'll share kind of, why I think so. So if you really think about it, Prabhupada came to this country as a 70-year-old man with nothing, penniless. And to think what he could accomplish, barely speaking the language, and if you ever listen to Prabhupada recordings, his accent, even as someone from an Indian background, is really hard to understand. So to think that he came to this country and he was able to inspire so many youth, people our age, people like younger than us, and that those youth were able to build this community in ISKCON is honestly miraculous. And there's not really a logical explanation other than he was empowered by Krishna himself. And so for a lot of us, I think that in itself is enough to give us faith that this process is real, and that we can make meaningful relationships and friendships, and that we can look to Prabhupada and get inspiration from his life and teachings. And so basically, this is especially relevant to us now with this new Naperville temple being constructed. There's so many opportunities for the youth to get involved and do different services. And my prayer to Srila Prabhupada on behalf of all the youth is that we can all find ways to remain engaged in this community and expand and serve the temple in a way that would make Prabhupada and the rest of our parampara proud, and that we can serve Shri Radha Syamasundar and grow our bhakti in this community collectively. So that's all. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much, Ravi. Now, Aditya and Arjun will have the last short and sweet offering, and then we'll move on to the next program.
Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishta Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Mr. Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prasharne Nirvishisha Shunyavadi Pasheta Satarne Jashi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadveti Gudar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. So on this auspicious day of Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja, I just wanted to share a few pastimes, me and Arjun, about Srila Prabhupada and his activities with his disciples and how merciful he is towards all of us. So the first pastime is, it's just 1977. Srila Prabhupada's in Mayapur celebrating Gaura Purnima. After the festival is over, he goes to Juhu, where the temple is being built. So Srila Prabhupada goes to his quarters with Surabhi Maharaj, the architect. And when Srila Prabhupada sees his old quarters, he's like, no, I don't want to stay here. I want to go to my new quarters. Now, Surabhi Maharaj is anxious. Srila Prabhupada's new quarters are not complete, and he doesn't want a spiritual master staying in unfinished quarters. But Srila Prabhupada is completely adamant on going. So Surabhi Maharaj and a few other disciples take Srila Prabhupada to his new quarters. Over there, they perform the Guru Puja and Abhishek, everything for Srila Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada says in this soft, tender voice, he says, all of you are trying so hard to please this old man who gets irritated so fast. I am old, and on top of that, I am unwell, so little things irritate me. But all of you are so tolerant. In this quote, we can see Srila Prabhupada, with all of his humility and compassion. He came to the West to liberate all of these souls, and now he's saying he has so much humility and compassion on all these people who are about to go to hell. He could have just stayed in Vrindavan. He could have stayed in Mayapur. He could have done everything by himself. He could have just chanted all day. But instead, he decided to follow his spiritual master's dream and come to the Western world to liberate all of the devotees. I just think this was something worth cheering by Srila Prabhupada and about his mercy to all of his devotees.
Haribol, my name is Arjun. All right. So once Prabhupada was visiting Detroit, the Detroit devotees were looking for a bigger temple. Srila Prabhupada went with the devotees to a particularly big mansion in a part of Detroit. After they were finished looking at the mansion, the price was settled at a payment of $300,000. and it would be funded by devotees such as Ambrish Prabhu, the head of the Ford Company. A few days later, Srila Prabhupada left Detroit with no money to himself. This shows that Srila Prabhupada offered everything to Krishna. He had so many chances to enjoy, but he always gave everything he had to Krishna. This is why Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee and very dear to Krishna. And I'm grateful for being born on his appearance day this year.
Thank you so much, all of you, for Thank you so much for all of you for coming forward and sharing your personal and very heartfelt offerings. You can seriously go on, maybe just have one full day dedicated just hearing about Srila Prabhupada and how he has touched our hearts and lives in unimaginable ways. So now, as devotees are setting these offerings back, I thought we will just have a minute or two after hearing all this, or even otherwise, one word, what comes to your, I don't want to say mind, heart.
Hare Krishna.
What comes to your heart when you think of Srila Prabhupada?
Hare Krishna.
Anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Mercy, compassion.
Hare Krishna. This is louder.
Tolerant, resilience, fame, faith, yes,
It's
yes,
turning.
unimaginable faith, and he's sharing for all of us, yes. Hope, yes, we all need that hope. Mercy, yes, Kalki. Krishna consciousness, yes. Probably none of us would know what is Krishna consciousness, be conscious of Krishna, if not for Prabhupada. Thank you. Anyone? Funny, yeah, I mean the story that Mohan Lila Prabhu shared. I was like, so shocked when Jiva was like, okay, are you ready? And we had like this,
Hare Krishna.
I don't want to tell how many kids we have in the van.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, prasadam.
Hare
So
Krishna,
Jiva just
Krishna,
started,
Krishna,
like,
Hare
he's,
Hare
cool,
Rama,
funny, and he was
Hare
narrating
Rama,
the story.
Rama,
And he was really funny like that with his disciples,
Hare
if you see. I mean, it's not like a devotee has to be sober, serious,
Krishna,
grave, and
Hare
like,
Krishna.
okay, whatever.
Krishna,
But he
Krishna.
is so easily approachable, just for anyone to come and talk and touching the hearts in that way. And more.
That's good news. I was thinking if it's a...
Takes risks. Didn't he? I mean, what risk he didn't take? Ravi Prabhu was telling, like at the age of 70, coming here without the accent of, unimaginable. Yes, Mandir. Lao. Yes, yes. We all need that so much, and he has given us abundantly.
Hare
Determination,
Krishna. Hare
yes.
Krishna.
Probably this is
Krishna,
one of the
Krishna.
wonderful days
Hare
to,
Hare.
wherever
Hare
we
Rama.
are,
Hare
to
Rama.
really
Rama
pray
Rama.
to Srila
Hare Hare.
Prabhupada, to deepen our determination, to take a step forward. As Shyam Prabhu was saying, in the collective endeavor, in our personal endeavors, be determined more and more. Yes, Shyam Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam, yes. Yes, Srimad Bhagavatam. None of us would have our beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam sets at our homes. Yes. Service to needy and less fortunate. As Aditya was mentioning, where would all these people be directly, heading to the hell? Such a needy people, he has done immense service. We cannot imagine what the fortune we have got. Yes, Prabhu. Personal association, not only when he was physically here on the planet, even now, as devotees are speaking, we can literally feel, the devotees are feeling his presence, very personal, amazing. Yes, Prabhu. True servant of the Lord, showing by example and that humility. Yes, Kiran Mataji. How to build relationships. Yeah, so important as Shyam Prabhu and Premanand Mataji were mentioning. we all can each feel, okay, I have relationship with Prabhupada, I have relationship with Krishna or Radharani or whoever. But unless we have these personal relationships and going beyond our differences and collectively serve together, I mean, none of us would have this wonderful time what we have. And yesterday's Janmashtami and today's celebration, we have only more and more and more coming here in ISKCON Naperville. So, Mataji, do we have a little more time? Okay, 1 more minute. Okay, anything else coming out? So whoever didn't speak? Radha Yatra, yes. I mean, not only for people in India, in Puri, where Lord Jagannath comes out to give darshan once in a year. He has brought the Radha Yatras out in this West. I mean, who would imagine such mercy, right? We were thinking, somebody was saying yesterday, we had to wait in this whole line and for midnight aarti. It was so wonderful, but there was not even a spot even for one leg to be here. So Jyotirmaya Mataji was saying, oh, I wish it would be so nice to have midnight aarti out here. So any number of people can be there. And we have that opportunity, Radha Yatra. Yes. Yeah, Acharya, showing by example, including that the pastime that Aditya was sharing. How humble and tolerant. I mean, he is teaching all of these, but still he is expressing in such compassionate, such humble mode. Yeah. Ambitious, I know, talk about that. I mean, it's, yeah, I don't even have words that for what he has ambition. Yes, Mataji, Sangeeta Mataji. Fearless, totally. To that ambition, there is no fear at all because he is so confident of Krishna and his spiritual master's empowerment. Yes, Vrindavan Prabhu. Huh? 2 minutes over. Chasing the rhinos. Yes, amazing. Thank you so much. So now we will move on to Pushpanjali, and then we will have the Guru Ashtaka sung by Shadarupa Mataji. Now, His Grace Nityan Pran Prabhu will lead us for the Pushpanjali. So after Prabhu, we will repeat. We will all get the flowers. Please don't throw the flowers. You all can come closer and then nicely offer as nicely as possible.
Hare Krishna, as you get these flower petals, you'll have to use them 3 times. So ration them accordingly, okay? And so, flower petals are coming your way. Don't worry. Please repeat after me. We bring all our attention to Srila Prabhupada. This is Pushpanjali. You tell me when you're ready. Ready? Oh, unfortunately, I took away the mic from Amrita Keli. No, I said, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Apparently, we're not ready yet.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry.
Why don't you tell them that you got to throw it 3 times again because people didn't hear.
Okay, so the flower petals that will come to you, please make sure that you use them for 3 times. So ration them accordingly. So I'm going to say it a 3rd time, I guess.
Now we have got a minute or 2, so all of us can try to capture whatever mercy, whatever gratitude and love we are feeling, and really keep that in your heart as we are about to offer. Okay, if it is possible,
No, it's not required.
all the Matajis, no, it's okay.
Should I start? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुत पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवार्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसंबंध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुग भक्तिदा श्रीगौर करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुग विरुद्ध अपसिद्धांत ध्वांतहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलंभर सांबोधे पादाम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंदनामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते गौर आविर्भाव भूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्ट सज्जन प्रियः वैष्णवा सार्वभौमा श्री जगन्नाथायते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यां नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते जयतं सुरतौ पंगो मम मंद मतेर्गतिः मत्सर्वस्व पदाम्भोजौ राधा मदनमोहनौ दिव्याद वृंदारण्य कल्पद्रुमादः श्रीमद्रत्नागार सिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद्राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवौ पृष्ठालिभिः सेव्यमानौ स्मरामि श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भी वंशीवट तटस्थितः कर्षन्वेणु स्वनैर्गोपी गोपीनाथः श्रियेस्तु नः तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Now when I say Esha Pushpanjali, you will offer, I guess, 1/3 of the flower petals that you have. Okay? So please repeat after me loudly. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Esha Pushpanjali. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please offer your obeisances. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Esha Pushpanjali. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Esha Pushpanjali. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada. संसारदावानललितलोका त्राणाय कारुण्याघनाघनत्वम् संसारदावानललितलोका त्राणाय कारुण्याघनाघनत्वम् प्राप्तस्य कल्याणगुणार्णवास्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् प्राप्तस्य कल्याणगुणार्णवास्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् महाप्रभो कीर्तन नृत्य गीत वादित्रमाध्यान् मनसोरसेना रोमाञ्चकम्पाश्रुतरङ्गभाजो वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् श्रीविग्रहाराधन नित्यनाना शृङ्गार तन्मन्दिरमार्जनाद युक्तस्य भक्तंश्च नियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् युक्तस्य भक्तंश्च नियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् चतुर्विधा श्री भगवत् प्रसाद स्वाद्वन्न तृप्तान् हरिभक्त शङ्गान् कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्ना श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्ना प्रतीक्षणा स्वाधनलोलुपास्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् प्रतीक्षणा स्वाधनलोलुपास्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् निकुञ्जयूनो रतिकेलिसिद्ध्यै यायालिभिर्युक्तिरपेक्षणीया तत्रातिदाक्षादतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् साक्षाधरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभोर्या प्रिया एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् किन्तु प्रभोर्या प्रिया एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादात् न गति कुतोऽपि यस्य प्रसादात् प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादात् न गति कुतोऽपि ध्यायन् स्तुवं तस्य यशस्त्रिसन्ध्यां वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् ध्यायन् स्तुवं तस्य यशस्त्रिसन्ध्यां वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् 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 जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय 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 प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे हरे Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदा श्री श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की, ISKCON फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की, नित्यलीला प्रतिष्ठा ओम परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदा श्री श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की, श्रील प्रभुपाद अपीयरेंस महा महोत्सव की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की, आनंद कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, श्री श्री राधा माधव की, श्री श्री राधा श्यामसुंदर की, श्री श्री राधा वृंदावन चंद्र की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Now devotees, the prasadam will be served in the tent, I think. No. In the tent, and some devotees, whoever want to help to clean the temple floor, can clean it now.
So every year, the day after Janmashtami is like this. So please mark your calendars. This happened to be a Saturday. Next year may not be the same. So please take a day off and join us every year. Hare Krishna.